What's up, dudes and duders and dudettes and others? This
Duderinos.
is the Critical Beard podcast.
Critical
I
Beard.
am one of your hosts this evening, Robin the Cardinal, alongside
I am the meatball.
the Meatball.
It's because I'm
So-
Italian. Get it?
And
really like balls.
welcome in. Hey, just take off your coat, kick your feet
Hey,
up,
Hang out.
relax,
We're
have
just
a
gonna
cocktail.
soothe you with our soft voice.
Our beautiful, soft voices this evening. And we're going to start with a little segment we like to call What You Playing?
What you playing? What are you playing at? Well, what are you playing? Are you playing anything? Anything exciting?
What are you playing? I am playing a little Animal Crossing, of course. That's just like every day or whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
I know it's like
just like a life.
it's addiction. Let's just be honest.
So I was just checking. I'm not like deep balls into it like I was, but I still just kind of check.
I got to the point where I can terraform my island.
Oh, see, I'm not there yet. It takes so long, and they won't rate my island good. They won't give me good star.
Get better. I don't know what to tell you.
Someone was just like, just put shit everywhere, and I was like, okay.
No, man, I don't. No. I am an immersive player, so like I like to like.
Yeah, I can't just. It's got to look nice. It's got to have
I have a friend who like she got it when it came out, and then she just immediately started time traveling and using exploits, and then she got burned out within a couple weeks, and I'm like, oh, duh, you did. Like it's Animal Crossing. There's a lot of games like that where like you don't play Animal Crossing to beat Animal Crossing. There's no beating.
It's a cyclical game
because
you
can't beat it.
Changes throughout the seasons and shit. So like if you just beat it or do everything there is to do, you're not going to see winter.
Because I tell people, like Animal Crossing is a year-long experience. You have to play it for 365 days to like get all of the content, so to speak.
January 1st, I'm going to do a review. I'm going to be like, I beat it. I did it.
I freaking did it.
Beat it.
Yeah. Great game.
Yeah, good one. And then throw a little bit, dabbling a little bit in Rygar, which just was released for the
Rygar.
The NES, whatever you call it, the app on the Switch.
He has the shield, right? He has like the shield on a chain or whatever.
Yeah, he throws a shield on a chain. It's a cool Metroidvania for NES. It's really fun.
It's a Metroid-like. Okay.
I mean, at that point, I don't know. That game might have. They probably just made their own game. They probably had no like at that point. But it's cool. It's got really cool music. It's really trippy. It's a very like strange game. It's
a Japanese video game from the 80s.
If you like the idea of like kind of a Castlevania.
With Greco-Roman,
and a Metroid kind of exploration. It sounds cool. Check it out, man. It's cool. It's very strange. It is very strange. If
you have Nintendo Switch Online, it's free on their little Nintendo app.
Also, finally, playing. I jumped back into Dragon Quest 11 on the Switch.
Still haven't beaten it.
I still haven't beaten it, but I realized I actually jumped off of it when Animal Crossing came out.
Oh, really?
I thought I was at a part where I was like stuck at, but I realized I was at a part where I was at a brand new village and I hadn't gone in. I just like saved it and I was like, whoa, this was I love that. So I was like, I went back and I was in this snow village and I was like, fuck yeah. So I'm about like halfway through that one. I don't know. Okay. You never know with like Persona and Dragon Age. You never know.
How far? Like, yeah, I don't want to see how far you got because it might spoil something that you haven't gotten to. I think I'm pretty close. I'm pretty near the end. I'm probably I think I'm like in the beginning of the third act of the game, so I'm probably like
about where
67% done. It's a great game. It was so much that I just ended up just kind of getting burned out.
Yeah, it's one of those games that's just it's so much. It's kind of like Persona 5 where it's like I know that game is 100 hours long, and I wish I didn't. I wish I just didn't know. I wish there was nothing out there. They should start not spoiling how long games are, because. I hate that I know that, because if I didn't know it, I would probably be playing Persona a lot more. And because
just waiting for it to end.
God, it's 120 hours. Jeez. Yeah. That's why I magnetize to certain games, because I like open world games and RPGs and stuff. So of course most of the time it's long, but like I loved Star Wars Jedi Knight Fallen Order and Spider-Man for PS4. Both were the perfect length. Those games were like 20 hours long. Those games are like 20 to 25
See,
to 30
that's
hours long.
yeah.
Perfect,
To me, that's the sweet spot. Like,
Mhm.
30 hours is like I think like the roof and everything. Anything past that, you're pushing
And
it.
most of the old school great RPGs are all fucking like 30 hours.
20,
They're not that
30.
long.
Yeah, like Chrono Trigger. It's like a 50. If you know what you're doing, it's like a 10, 15 hour game. Like you just blast through it. But it has such a. It still has one of the best New Game Plus systems, and it was the first game to really tout a New Game Plus system, and it's still probably like the best New Game Plus.
That's another one that I almost put that on What You Playing because I did boot up Chrono Trigger like 2 nights ago, and
booting something up doesn't mean you're playing it.
Yeah, no, it's not on my list. But I'm probably gonna be. It's gonna be What You Playing for me tonight because I think I'm gonna get back. I don't know why. I'm just gonna play it. Whatever.
What are you going to be playing? That's the next segment. What are you going to be playing?
We should just do a whole episode. It's like, what are you playing now? What did you play before? And what are you going to be playing?
Oh dang! What am I playing?
What you playing?
I'm of course Animal Crossing. My island is freaking beautiful. I'm working.
I need to visit you.
You should. I'm working on this beautiful like park area right now in my residential subdivision area. I'm really into like civil design and like city design and stuff. So this kind of end game of Animal Crossing when you unlock all of the game mechanics, like that's my favorite part of an Animal Crossing game because that's when you can really like take all the mechanics and just kind of shift everything around, and I love it. Like just like paving roads is so tedious. This is
really my first real dive into Animal Crossing since the GameCube. I didn't do any. I tried to do the 3DS one before this one came out, but like I think it was just a little too late. Like it was like the visuals were just a little like I was like I'm just gonna wait till the new one comes out.
I put so many hours into New Leaf Animal Crossing is the only game that me and Mercedes can really sink our teeth in together. She kind of strayed. Video games aren't really her thing anymore. She kind of got burnt out on them. Yeah. But Animal Crossing was coming out, and she's just like, so how much are Switches these days? And I'm like, oh yeah,
dude. Heather's the same way. Heather's the same way. She's kind of been. She's been very. She hasn't jumped in yet, just because we have a 6-month-old child, and it's hard to do anything when you have that. But you know, she's been very interested, and like she's like I can tell she's got that glimmer in her eye.
Yeah, because it's such a good game for like. Because there's like an in-game community, there's like levels of community because you have like the in-game lore community of like you and your villager friends, and then you have like the community, then you have like the community of like your friends that are playing and the person playing next to you, and like you were playing together on the couch, and it's like, oh man, look what I just found, or oh look what I just did, and I don't know, it's a great game.
Look at my museum. Yeah.
Look how many bugs I just caught. Wow. Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing.
I was I was talking to a guy at work, and he was saying, you know, he was like, give me the pitch. Why is this game so popular? And I'm like, if I give you the pitch, you're gonna just roll your eyes and be like, that sounds
I think I was there for that because it's just like. It's like, so what's the pit? Like, what's the point? It's like, well, imagine that you go into massive debt, but everything is super cute. It's like
it's basically a home designer.
It's like super cute, massive debt manual labor simulator. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, like the game flow and it's just like, man, like I just spent like today I spent like 40 minutes like paving roads.
I can't wait to get there, man. I can't wait to get to the mechanics where I can do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's again like hopefully the next iteration, and I say iteration, not sequel, because it's like Pokemon, like add some quality of life stuff because it's still like such a freaking hassle. But it still doesn't damper the gameplay.
I really want to like be able to. I know I've said this before, and I'll just shut up after this. But I really want to shake a bunch of trees and have like a little drag. Like I can just drag this thing across all of it.
I know.
And just say pick up all. Because in like Divinity Original Sin 2, I'm dabbling in that too on the Switch. You have this thing that you literally can just drag it across the entire screen, and you can pick up and do whatever you want with the entire thing. And it's like that would be so. Guys, like
or just have an in-game an in-game like HUD, like Stardew Valley. When you're putting down something in Stardew Valley, it has a little square, and you know where you're going to put it. In Animal Crossing,
totally agree with you.
You just have to just hope. You have to hope that you're putting it in the right.
Figure out how to line up trees when I'm planting them and stuff. I'm like, is this even? I don't know.
You have to learn. You have to learn how to like visualize the grid, basically. The grid.
Or the whole like visualize it thing when you're setting up a new home. I wish you could do that with like anything.
Right?
Just anything. Just visualize what it's going to look like when it's grown.
So. Or just take the. I think the next game is going to. When you're in a house, you can turn into like happy home designing mode, where like it turns into like you can move the camera finally, and you can like place things on a grid almost. Have that be accessible in the outside world. I think like they have to do that in the next game. They have to.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
We could talk about Crossing forever. Still going through Xenogears. I'm about, I don't know, halfway maybe. Awesome.
I can't wait to play it. I have a copy of it. I don't have.
It's like a chunky, delicious, like buffet of just.
I have a copy of it finally.
Oh, nice. Would you pick it up online or?
No, the guy.
Oh, he had a copy of it. Wow.
I have a copy. I mean, he literally had. I got Final Fantasy.
That's awesome.
Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 12, and then he had like Xenosaga. I mean Xenoblade. Oh God.
The Xenos.
The Xenos.
Wait. Which sagas did you have?
The PS2 sagas.
One, 2, and 3. Oh, just one. Two goes for like 2 and 3 go up to like $100+. I say a lot of that stuff, man. If we could like hover that stuff on eBay, we can make some cash.
And there was a bunch of like DS RPGs that I've never seen before, like Summon Night and stuff.
Is there a copy of Contact for the DS? Because I will pay you for that game.
Maybe.
That's such a great, weird, like
there's a ton of
random
DS games in the original boxes.
Nice.
Everything original, like all the original art and stuff, and crazy.
Nice.
But
Xenogears, and I'm writing more notes. I like writing notes because if I don't, my brain like hurts. So Plus, I have a really terrible memory. I've learned to just write notes on everything. So like next to my bed, I just have like 5 or so notebooks that are denoted to different things that I need notes about. Because if I don't, then my life doesn't happen because I have a terrible memory. I blame my 20s, but that's a lie. I've always had bad memory. At least I think I have. I don't remember.
Have I ever had bad memory?
I forgot. It's like Memento, but not engaging at all.
Well, Memento was engaging, and speaking of engaging, did you happen to catch that new gameplay? Not gameplay, but gameplay.
Wait. Actual gameplay? Like I'm not done yet. I'm still playing something.
What else are you playing?
Mr. Segway.
Sorry, it just I get it, and then I get
that was good. That was good. I've also been trying out the first Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you bought Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
I mean, the screen choppiness is still as bad as I remember it being.
There's that game has got to age the worst out of all of them.
And it's really just the frame rate and the screen tearing. Because like everything else I can deal with, even though like the audio, the vocal recordings are just, it sounds like they're recorded in like someone's closet or something. They're not super great. Like you can hear like echoes and like it's not great. But so far, I mean, it's about what I remembered the couple hours I played when it came out, like 2008 or whatever.
Yeah,
it came out?
2008. Yeah, sounds right.
It's all right.
7 actually, maybe.
There's no subtitles. There's no subtitles. It drives me crazy. When I watch TV, you gotta have subtitles. If I'm playing a game, you gotta have subtitles. I'm sorry, but like
I'm old. I have to have subtitles. Like,
so for real,
my ears and my eyes don't work.
I know. Anymore. So I booted Assassin's Creed up. I'm like, sweet, and then it starts with like this warbled like mystery voice, when you're in the Animus and like ooh, he's saying stuff. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I like paused and went to the options. It's like no subtitle, and there's no difficulty settings either. I'm like, but I want an easy mode because I don't care.
See, no difficulty settings was something that happened a lot around that time.
Yeah,
but the no subtitles is strange because not only is that a game about going into a place where people shouldn't speak English,
so main character, which is excusable in a narrative sense. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who don't speak English,
who doesn't speak English?
The Japanese.
I'm not done yet. I'm just kidding. I'm done.
If you ruined a second great segue,
I mean that's a little stretch, but I'll give it to you. But yes, what is it? The Ghost of Tsushima?
Ghost of Yoshimi.
Hey.
Tsushima.
You look really cool. I hope that game comes out soon.
There's a samurai who killed you, Yoshimi. So yeah, they dropped this like really long gameplay trailer, and
yeah, it was like 20 minutes long or something, maybe longer.
Open world samurai fucking badass game from the makers of Infamous and Sly Cooper.
What else did they did something recently though, right?
No, they haven't done a game since
Second Son. I liked Second Son a lot.
I love that game, and it was like basically a launch game.
It was a launch game because I bought the that was the first game I had for the PS4 because there wasn't really a lot.
That was the game you had for PS4 to show everybody how cool the graphics were because there wasn't anything else at that time. It was like there was a bunch of indie games, and then there was Infamous Second Son. And you were like,
actually, I take that back. Resogun was the first game I got for my PS4, and that's a badass game.
I had Resogun, but that wasn't the one you showed your friends.
No, that's the one you played for hours and hours in secret.
And then Transistor was another good one that came out. It was a
yeah, with the guy from Braid, right? No, not Braid, but
Bastion.
Bastion. I get those confused because they're both indie and they're beast.
Yeah, they are. But,
memory.
So we got this gameplay trailer of Ghost of Tsushima.
An actual gameplay trailer.
Actual gameplay. This is a person really playing this game, and it looks.
Speaking of Assassin's Creed.
And yeah, so we got him kind of wandering around this open world, samurai on a horse, going around exploring. What I really thought was cool was the lack of HUD elements. The first thing they showcased was this new mechanic, which I can't believe no one's ever used before, and it's so cool. Guiding wind, which literally you can just press a button and the wind will gust in a certain direction towards the objective that you have.
See, that's one thing about video games that I don't know why they haven't gone more in the direction of, because I remember it started, one of the first big games to do that was Dead Space. Remember the HUD was like lights on his suit.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
remember?
It was like, yeah, it was light.
It was really cool. I played it when it came out, but I didn't follow the series or anything. But I always thought that was like one of the coolest parts of the game because it didn't have a HUD. Like the ammo in the gun was on the gun.
It was on the
and like his health was his little spine lights. Super cool. And it really didn't show up again until like Death Stranding did it. Like you don't really need a HUD. Like when I play Death Stranding, I just turn off the HUD because everything is told by colors, degradation, body movement. Like you don't need a HUD if you pay attention. And it's good to see another AAA game, like, because we don't need a HUD. Like if you're gonna take away that veil of like player game world, then like take the HUD away.
So it looks like they're taking away the HUD. So they're very like the immersion levels already. I mean, this is my dream game is basically an open world samurai RPG. I mean, that pretty much looks like what this.
I honestly don't know how they haven't done something like this before.
I don't either.
What the hell?
Every time,
seems like a money machine.
Since Assassin's Creed 3, I have been like, oh, I can't wait. Where's the next? It's got to be Japan. We're gonna do feudal Japan.
Everyone wanted feudal Japan.
The assassins are ninjas, are assassins. What the fuck, man? That's like the original assassin. Why have we never done this before?
Technically, you're wrong, but I get what you're saying.
Shut your mouth. Yeah, I know. Technically, they actually started in fucking wherever origin, like in the pyramids. So I said, like, I don't even know.
Assassin's Creed Origins, get it?
But yeah, so we saw that, and we saw him going around on his horse doing a lot more exploration, which I thought was cool that they opened it with just exploration. There was like no fighting in that first.
It reminded me of the reveal, not the reveal, but the gameplay reveal of Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild, yeah.
Where like it shows that cutscene of Link on the horse, and then the game just like starts.
Yeah, it shows that, and then it ended.
And then you just have him walking around,
of him shooting a guardian with an arrow or whatever. But yeah,
well, that was the teaser. I'm talking about the gameplay reveal.
Well, the gameplay reveal ends with Link like flipping off his horse and shooting a guardian.
That's cool. Love it.
But yeah, it actually so what I didn't realize, the developer came out, said some other stuff. They said the two games they were the most inspired by, which were Shadow of the Colossus and Legend of Zelda.
You're like sold.
And then they said, of course, and then the other inspiration being old samurai film. Obviously, they were very influenced by Akira Kurosawa. I mean, this is literally like someone made a video game for me. I mean, like the only thing missing is lightsabers at this point.
Well, if it ever comes out on PC, your wish will be fulfilled.
Oh, it will happen. So I'm all in. I think this is my most anticipated game of the year. Cyberpunk is up there, but Cyberpunk, see, I don't have a good idea of like the moment to moment stuff I'm doing in Cyberpunk. Where
they haven't really shown. They've in Cyberpunk they've shown like mission chunks.
Yeah,
I feel like the game flow. We don't really know how the game flow is gonna go from like mission to mission. You know.
Because right now it's like Grand Theft Auto, Deus Ex, and Fallout or something mixed together.
Great.
It sounds great, but I mean, I still don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I like that in Ghost of Tsushima they showed us what I'm going to be doing.
Well, they showed you literally playing the game, because like missions are a part of the game, but that's not like, it's funny because like in games it's like it's like the opposite of like movies or stories. Because like, or novels, because like in novels and movies, they edit out the character going from A to B. You know what I mean? Like, the audience doesn't need to see it. But in video games, that A to B travel, that's the meat of a game. You know what I mean? It's like A to B, and then like an event or some type of like narrative thing happens, and then another stretch A to B. But I don't know why game developers, they don't show trailers of like that, because what you're doing in most games is that A to B. So like, why would you not show us that? What we're going to be doing 70% of the game.
Lord of the Rings showed a lot of that.
And I actually really love that about those movies.
I do too.
Because it really engages you, you know?
Shows is them walking. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
To amazing Howard Shore music, first of all.
Well, it feels like a real journey when they're actually going somewhere. That's my biggest problem with the newest Star Wars movie, is that like they kept cutting out every single time. I love those like small moments where you're traveling, or you're just like
those are probably my biggest problems with the recent Star Wars movies. The pacing is, while I enjoy breakneck pacing as much as the next guy, but like have some like, take some notes from Alfred Hitchcock. Have some lulls to accentuate your highs. Like it can't all be like.
Force Awakens and Last Jedi both had a lot more lulls than Rise of Skywalker. Even though I liked that movie.
Only in reference, but like whenever Force Awakens came out, that's all I was thinking. I was thinking like, because like if you compare Force Awakens to any of the other Star Wars movies before 8 and 9 came out, like the pacing was breakneck. And then it just kind of hit its peak in Rise of the Skywalker, which was just all breakneck.
Yeah, that was,
there was nothing. Yeah, but yeah, like that pacing. Yeah, right. We could. But yeah, I think pacing is not something that's really talked about in video games, and it's the fact that the gameplay trailer showed us what the game pacing is going to be like. That A to B movement.
And I loved that he kept getting in, like there were potential combat encounters and he kept just riding past them.
Yeah.
And there was even a part where, and it says like, you know, the wind will show you where to go, but if you don't know that, and then he goes to his map and you see a couple of question marks, which are very Witcher. That's, you know, And that's what I like so
there
much
might be
about The
something
Witcher,
interesting here.
because it doesn't tell you, hey, there's a guy over here
Yeah.
that does that. It doesn't do the Assassin's Creed thing.
Yeah, the Ubisoft map of
Yeah.
stuff.
It just says there might be something here, maybe go check it out.
Yeah.
But then there's also, it from what I remember in that, it only showed question marks that were really near him. I didn't see any on the further out parts of the map.
Well, didn't Witcher do that? Like once you enter like a radius, it would
That's
pop
true.
up.
It was once you got to a town, like a marker, a villa.
Once you like ran past a marker and then activated
the fast travel. Remember, you could only fast travel from the markers, which I actually liked.
Which that's the way it should be.
Yeah. There should be more fast travel than Red Dead 2, and less fast travel than, because
I don't know. I like as long as the A to B travel is engaging, which I thought in Red Dead 2.
It is at first. It is in the first 30 hours, but then once it's 70 hours, I just want to go to the damn Native American camp, and I just want to get there. I don't want to ride there and then ride all the way back.
You just don't have it in you, boy.
Yeah, I guess not. But yeah, then it shows this kind of this golden bird that flies past him, and then it says you can follow birds and foxes and shit to interesting locations, and the bird leads him to this guy sitting by a campfire talking about ghosts of samurais in the forest, and you think, oh, maybe he's gonna go in the forest, and then he doesn't. He goes another way, and he sees a fox, and he chases the fox down. The fox shows him to this shrine, and it looks like the shrine levels you up or something, or gives you some sort of
probably some sort of
ability point or something. But that game definitely takes a lot of cues from Breath of the Wild, and
a lot of Witcher 2.
Yeah.
Not Witcher 2, Witcher as well.
Definitely
not Witcher 2.
It feels a lot like a mixture of The Witcher 3 and Breath of the Wild with a feudal Japan coat of paint.
Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's more than just a coat of paint.
I think it is. I think it's very clear that these people.
It's just the fact that they have a full Japanese dub. Just the fact that they have a full Japanese dub. That's like, okay, this isn't just a coat of paint.
So then we saw him assault the camp. They said, okay, now we're going to show some action, and they showed him assault the camp in full samurai armor. And it looks so what I read later, so it looks like the combat is pretty much 1-2 hit kill.
Yes,
which is very awesome.
Bushido blade, please.
Well, it's awesome because that's if you're gonna make a samurai game, it's stupid if you're.
That's why I loved. Yeah, that's why I always loved Bushido blade, because it was, especially at the time. I mean, even now, there's not a lot of games where especially fighting games, where it becomes more of just a button combo meta game instead of being very, very careful and 1-2 hit, you're dead, 1-2 hits, they're dead.
And it kind of has a little of that, it's just a little bit of Dark Souls-ishness to it, but it's also when he goes into camp and he's fighting multiple people, and that dude shoots the arrow, and it looks like clearly you're going to be able to counter. He knocks the arrow away and then slashes the other dude. It just looks super cinematic and fucking cool.
I'm gonna do nothing in that game but just countering people. That's all I'm gonna do.
That was kind of addressed later after that. Only a day or two ago, they came out and spilled a few more details, and they said that your character will be extremely fragile. You will die after two or three hits, and you're dead.
Good.
So they said they wanted to go extremely historically accurate here, and they said that they don't want a game where you're going to have this huge life bar. They want a game where you are a samurai. If in a fight between two samurais, that's why the combat is the way it is. Because a lot of people, I think that was the only thing that got a little bit of pushback, was they're the combat seems weird, it seems too easy, or it seems whatever. I was like, yeah, but if you can die in 2 hits or whatever, it's
easy.
Probably...
Yeah, it's only easy because the guy playing knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, and they stress that the game will be hard. They stress that the combat will be hard. You will be able to die in a couple of hits. So I think that whole part where he's going into the bandit camp, I think that's ultra hard mode, because then they showcase the ghost mode, where
that's not normal though to present gameplay in hard mode.
Well, I'm not in hard mode. I'm saying, so you know how you can go in with as a samurai,
Oh,
or they
you
then
mean
later
like
the
okay, I
ghost, the
see what you mean.
ninja, right? You can go the same camp as the ninja, and you're
I
stealthy.
don't I don't know. I don't know if one's going to be easier. I'm sure they're going to balance both.
Oh well, they said so. So they came out and said that's not a thing that you like choose as a narrative decision or anything.
Yeah.
You can just literally switch back and forth.
Yeah,
You
good.
can and
Good
they even
because I
said
yeah,
you
I
can
agree.
even build like some sort of hybrid character who like
Yes.
wears samurai armor but still has ninja like abilities. And but
I'm
then
gonna
we saw
be I'm gonna be
him.
yeah. I'm gonna
We
be
saw him attack the camp with very ninja skills, throwing like firecrackers and distracting guards
He didn't
and
turn into a log though. I'm
yeah,
confused. I was like
Jedi
a
form.
guy saw him, but he didn't turn into a log. I'm like, but this isn't a Tenchu game. Never mind.
Yeah, he didn't. I do wish they would take the underwater breathing fucking.
Oh yes.
That was so cool. It's so
You
cool.
know that's gonna be in you know that's gonna be in the game.
It has to.
It has to.
I've been saying forever, and these stupid freaking.
Idiots.
I love Sekiro, but From Software freaking made Tenchu, and Sekiro was like a spiritual success. I'm like, no, it wasn't, because it wasn't a stealth game. It was just an action game, and you could be like stealthy for a second, but as soon as you attack somebody, everyone saw you because you kill people the loudest way possible. He would literally jump off a thing and shove a sword through their throat and be like. And like you yell and the guts would go everywhere and like, oh right, great, think everyone knows we're here.
Yeah, I was really hoping that Sekiro was before they announced it. It was like I was really hoping for a Tenchu game.
Yeah, and it was just another kind of. It was a great game. Don't get me wrong. It ended up being
I'm not a
another.
fan. I'm not a fan of that
Like
subgenre.
it
But
really
I see the
hard.
appeal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I in the games that kind of adapt some of the Soulsness, which is cool because they're basically Metroid games. They have like that kind of like it's not open world, but they're interconnected map.
Yeah, it's a
And that's like
Jedi Fallen
Order. Jedi Fallen Order adapted that, but like they
Wait, what's the full title?
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, TM, EA, Electronic Arts. But yeah, games like that, and it looks like this one are adopting some stuff from Dark Souls that is cool, but just giving it a little bit more of an accessible package. I don't know.
I don't see any. I don't really see much Souls influence. I feel like people always
just the combat. I think
I don't see it either because I just don't. That could be a whole nother video, but like I don't understand like I understand like Dark Souls, Demon Souls was this zeitgeist moment of taking all of these previously known kind of video game mechanics and kind of like turning it into something new that captured everyone's attention. But like I don't know. I don't see any Souls influence in this other than just like it's in what's the term? Deliberate combat.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean. That's the only thing. That's the only connection I see. Which like you can't put that just on Souls. But
it is to a point where people do give too much credit for certain things. Where it's like
what
okay,
they did not invent deliberate combat.
They didn't invent like the parry. Like that's pretty much
exactly.
What I mean. I guess it's
just, I don't know.
When people
that's
think
a whole other conversation though. But
when people think of hard combat with a sword and parry, they think of Dark Souls or whatever, but that's not. Yeah. Anyways, so it looks like you're going to have the ability to play as like a ninja or samurai or sort of a combo of both. And they intentionally said it's not going to have a morality meter like the infamous Second Son. It's going to have.
Usually don't like this.
Yeah, in this they said that you're kind of like this bespoke character, and they don't really want you to like be something they don't want you. The narrative isn't up to you. It's kind of how I keep bringing this back up for some reason, but in Star Wars, everyone was like, "Can I in Jedi Fallen Order? Can I play as a Can I get Sith armor? Can I play with a red lightsaber?" Like, no, and they're like, "Why?" And they're like, "Because you're a Jedi.
It's in the title. It's in the title.
You're not a bad guy. You are a good guy." Like, so anyways, so that was awesome. The combat looks cool, and the stealth stuff looks cool. The only problem I think I even have with maybe some of this game is it looks like it just takes a lot of stuff from other games, but what doesn't now.
Well, that's how it's always been. I mean, that's how it's always been.
It's not reinventing the wheel, but I don't think I need it to. I mean, I've wanted a feudal Japan fucking video game where I'm a samurai. Do you remember the game Soul of the Samurai on PS1?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play? That game was so cool.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a Resident Evil like, I guess, in that way that it had that like fixed camera, or Onimusha, I guess I should. Well, it was before Onimusha.
Yeah, it was before Onimusha.
It doesn't get credited with like. I feel like that kind of was the like.
Or what was that? Nightmare Creatures.
Oh, but Nightmare Creatures didn't have a fixed camera.
I know, but like everyone, when Bloodborne came out, everyone was like,
yeah.
"Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "This is just Nightmare Creatures."
Nightmare Creatures is so good.
that was. I remember renting that game, just being like, "Hell yeah! Look at all this blood and stuff." Yeah.
I played Nightmare Creatures like a month ago.
That's funny.
Because I have the hacked PS1 classic.
Oh, nice.
With a bunch of games on there. I was like, fucking Nightmare Creatures. And then, but yeah, I mean, I just think this game looks like, I mean, it's just me. It's my jam. So much my jam, dude. I'm so
fucking jelly. Yeah.
And
I'm pretty.
And then, of course,
I'm pretty stoked.
They added the Anselmo modes, the black and the white.
Yeah, I mean, you made a good point with like the colors. I mean, the colors are nice. I'm not as over head over heels with them as you. So I'm willing to just forego the fancy colors because it's not just black and white. They have like film grain and stuff. I'm just like, they have film grain. That's so unnecessary. And it's the fact that it's not some like secret mode that you have to unlock. It's just like, hey, you want to play like a Kurosawa film? I'm like, yes. In full Japanese? Sure. That's what I'm doing.
Hit me. Hit me again, baby. Yeah.
Hit me, baby, again. One more time, please.
I mean, it's crazy, though. How has it taken this long for us to get a Kurosawa-style video game? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, those movies are, like, fucking awesome video games. Like, I don't even understand. Like, but anyways, yeah, I don't know if you had anything more to say about
No, it looks awesome. This year doesn't really have a lot of games that I'm just like ecstatic over, but I'll probably pick it up. I'll pick it up.
I'll probably pick it up.
I will. There's not a lot of new games that like make me like.
Well, we don't have any. We don't really know what's been coming out this year.
Yeah.
Nintendo hasn't had a direct or anything. We don't have any idea.
Yeah.
Like we could be getting Breath of the Wild.
Plus, I'm very wary on hype anyway. Like ever since Metal Gear Solid V, I'm just like hype. I'm very tempered in my hype these days. Now that doesn't mean I don't get excited about stuff, but I don't put all my eggs in one basket anymore. I'm just like, you know what? I wait till it comes out. And if I have buy two baskets, you count one of them, you don't count the other, you're good.
Good to go. Covered all your bases. But I will say, I do think what sets this apart is it does seem to have a pretty cool minimalistic art style that does feel its own, which kind of got me thinking, what makes a video game art?
Well, first of all,
what are the best examples of a video game being art?
First of all, what is art to you? Because that's what it all boils down to, right? Like,
art is a picture of a dog. That's it.
Art is a picture of a dog eating its own tail. The end.
I mean, art is something. I feel like what is it? There's like a definition. It's like you don't know, but you know when you see it.
It's like yeah. Well, that was originally attributed to pornography.
Right. Yeah. But what
is pornography? I know it when I see it.
Just any sort of anything created by a person that can elicit an emotional reaction from another person that's observing that product is art, I think.
So would you consider like watching a football game art?
No.
But it elicits emotion and it's
not a product created by someone.
It's not a product. It's not a product created by one person. It's a product created with a collective of people.
But it's not something. That's something that's in flux. That's something that's happening all.
But you can say the same thing about a game, because again, there's not a lot of difference between if you take down all the narrative and the imagery and all the artistic things, all the artistic qualities away from a game, you get a game. You get football, you get Pong, you get table tennis. So like, and weird, I don't know, it's a very interesting because Pong can elicit an emotion, football can elicit an emotion. It's like if you would like just put the dressings of artistic style on top of it, it becomes art. Is it the dressings that make it art?
I think it needs to have one other element. I think it needs to have one other artistic layer over it. It can't just be someone, because it can't just be a camera just filming someone doing something. I mean, I don't think that's art, but if it's
some people think that's art. There are art galleries that literally have a TV with footage of someone just sitting in a chair for 10 hours, and people go and see it and they go, "Wow, how reflective, how postmodern!" They think that's art. I don't think it is, but
I mean, yeah. Again, I feel like I said, you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone can watch a football game, and not one person's going to say, "This is art. This is art, baby."
But
now
you can say that physical science, martial arts, the body can be disciplined in an artful manner.
Yeah, you can say that the art of playing football is an art.
But how is watching a group of people performing an art or a science? Sometimes art and science are interchangeable. How is that? I mean, it's almost a performance in a way, but it's like a performance that isn't pre-planned.
It's not because it's not designed. It's not designed that way. It's not designed in a way that is that is here is this piece that we have created for you to observe. It's more like, here's a live camera on a bunch of dudes fucking running around in the field. It just I don't know. Again, I can't articulate the reason why I don't think it's art, but I don't think it's art.
I don't think it's art either. But so you're saying video games can be art, but video games are not art.
Kinda, yeah.
So I
don't think Pong is art.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, I don't think Madden is art. I don't think Call of Duty is necessarily art. I mean, maybe you could make an argument for that, but
I think video games are really special because they're not art. It's a lot like a movie in a way, where video games can, I guess it's like any kind of art, really. It can be, it's just a tool, or it's more like, I think my favorite video game director, Hideo Kojima.
Who?
He's pretty indie. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
He said that video games themselves are not art. That basically, in classic Kojima fashion, right? He says that video games are a museum where he makes the art itself, but he also curates the museum. He sets up the pieces of art. He changes the lighting. He sells the tickets. It's like this fusion of a product and interaction and passivity. So it's like this fusion that's never really happened before, because it uses all schools of art. You know what I mean? Video games use everything, but then it adds that little special spice of interactivity.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I gotta agree with Mr. Kojima.
You should look him up later.
I should try it. I will try. I do, and I also think that he's one of I was. It's just a weird topic, but okay, so there's this game. I don't know if you played it or seen it on the eShop or whatever. There's a game called Gris, Gris.
Gris.
Yeah, it looks like
disgusting.
Gris, but it's pronounced Grease. or Gris.
Grease Lightning.
It was made by a Spanish developer. It's a indie game where you play as a woman and you're just sort of running through these environments and solving puzzles and stuff. It is probably the most like if someone was like, how are video games art? I would literally boot that game up and hand it to them.
But video games aren't art. Video games can be art.
Well, how can video games be art? I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's an important distinction because some people just say like video games are art, and it's like, I mean, go tell that to Pong. I can't really agree that Pong is art.
Yeah, I almost don't even like. I don't even see like even games that do tell like some really amazing stories. In some ways, I don't. Some RPGs I don't even consider to be necessarily art in their own way. Like I feel like they're telling a compelling narrative maybe, but like I don't
see. Know. I don't agree with that because I think games can be visual art. I think it's all on what they focus on because like a game like Xenogears, I think that's more literature than.
But literature is art.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Well, I'm saying like there's games that are more visually engaging. There are games that are more conceptually engaging. There's games that are focused more on human connection and communication, and then there's games that are more in the literature realm where it's all about the plot and the characterization and all that stuff.
See, I think so. For me, that kind of brings up an important thing. I was thinking of games. There's games that, in my opinion, are just like art all over the place. They're just art everywhere. Like Death Stranding, Shadow of the Colossus.
That's so funny because the creator's like, no, it's not art. That brings up another point. What if the creator himself said, this is not art? I did not create this as a piece of art. Does that matter? No. But you said earlier that it has to come from a person that it's made to evoke an emotion from one person to another. What if that person didn't see it that way? Does it matter?
I guess not.
That's interesting. it's like so art's just kind of like a purely subjective one person
it's
looking outward.
Completely subjective, yeah. Because I mean, if literally, if there's like a game with a screenshot and that screenshot I want to hang on my fucking wall, then I mean, I feel like if you think about that too, I mean, like. But
does that mean the game's art or just that moment is artistic?
So I have two pretty good, one really, really good example of a game that visually is art, but maybe not like in the rest of it, which is Link's Awakening Remake. I think visually that game is very awesomely like artistic and cool, but I don't know that I'd say that whole game is a piece of artwork.
Yeah,
or a piece of art. I mean, because that game is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's artistic. That's why I think the museum curation analogy works, because like games aren't an art form, but games can hold within them art.
Yeah, like Octopath Traveler. I love the visuals of that game.
It's a beautiful artistic game.
Beautiful, and the music is beautiful.
Fantastic.
But I don't know that the end product I would like consider this like, hey, look at this. This is art.
That's another thing. You keep using the word product. In the art world, they never ever that's like the biggest no. Like something can't be a product and be art at the same time.
I don't necessarily mean like a product, like something you sell.
But it is though. Like that's how they're created though. Like, because it's an industry. It's like how some big directors say that, Marvel, the superhero movies aren't actual cinema. They're just popcorn. They're just roller coasters.
Scorsese.
Yeah, like, and in a way I kind of agree, but I only agree with their definition of art.
No, I was, so many people got all really mad about it. I don't think he was like intentionally attacking them. He was just saying,
you can't compare
he was saying
like
it's
Chinatown
like
and Guardians of the Galaxy. You can't really.
Yeah, it's like well, is going on a roller coaster and looking at the fucking Sistine Chapel the same fucking thing?
Yeah,
like
compare.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't diminish the roller coaster. It just means that it's a different type of entertainment, right?
Yeah, art's really weird. I mean, like the only thing you can people always will call art is if you paint stuff on a thing.
Isn't that weird?
It's so weird because I mean, to me, the most pure form of art is music, but like people
To me,
refer
of
to that
course,
as,
most purest is storytelling,
or yeah.
which I think music and storytelling
And that's the thing, is
probably
video games
evolved at the same time,
are
honestly.
paintings and storytelling and music. It's all of it, like, put together.
Yeah, that's why video
And so
games are
that's what's
incredible.
crazy. People are like, that's not art, but you're like, okay, but and then you can bring up a screenshot of Shadow of the Colossus
You're
of
like,
you like
look.
standing on a lonely tower, you're like drifting off, and like,
Yeah.
is this art? Yes. And then you can
But-
play the song from
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus while
That's
you're
because
fighting
they're
the
using a very specific definition of art, in which if you actually look at it from their point of view and use that definition, no, video games are not art. Video games cannot be art. Video games can be something that holds art, something that, and that's weird because like player interaction has a lot to do with it, because it's almost like the player themselves creates the art in a weird way. Because if you just you can't just boot a game up and just look at it and be like, yep, it's a piece of art. You know what I mean? Like you have to engage with it.
Some title screens are pretty dope.
You know what I mean, though, because like you have to engage with it, and like I don't know, it's like emergent art. It's this weird new thing.
Yeah, it's kind of, and you know, Breath of the Wild is another example where it's like that game is constantly setting you up to take screenshots. You know what I mean? That game is constantly like, look at this next hill. You probably want to fucking go up there. And then you walk up the hill and this piano starts like, and then you like get to the top of the hill and the camera pans back just a little bit. And you're like, oh fuck, this is awesome. And it's like, they clearly put it's like they draw you on that path, and Kojima does the same thing with Death Stranding.
They do, but it's like, again, that's like the museum curation thing. That's literally what museum curators do. They have to create paths to draw the consumer or the viewer.
Yeah, stuff to draw the eye.
Exactly, because that's what
Ghost of Tsushima looks like it's doing. Very good. Well, very good.
Very good. Well, I think like getting rid of the HUD, getting rid of the illusion, or rather embracing the illusion that it's not a game, is one way. I don't think it's the best way, or so far it's the best way, but I don't know if it's the ultimate end all way to like make the ultimate art museum. It brings like games like Dreams, like that's like the perfect like epitome of video games
Dreams
as a
canvas.
It's like a canvas, but it's not just a canvas. It's like a canvas. It's the museum. It's the people in the museum. It's like this.
But then again, is Mario Maker 2? Is that the same? Is it a museum with a bunch of art?
In a way, yeah. But I mean, so is Death Stranding. So is heck. So is the first Mario in a weird way, because like there's multiple paths and you can have your own stories that you can kind of glean from how you play.
So I had this question. It was, do you think like photorealism makes a game less artistic, or like a modern setting makes it feel less like a piece of art? Like
no, because I think there's different types of style. There's a realistic. It's like a movie, a live action movie versus like. It's like oh, what's a movie that just came out, like a live action movie? I don't really watch movies anymore.
Has any movies come out this year?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. Where am I? I don't know. I said Chinatown earlier.
I've like stopped. The only movie in my head right now is Dune.
Okay, Dune. Well, the David Lynch 1984 Dune. It's like that versus like the old animated Hobbit movie. Just two random movies. It's like they're super random. It was the only animated 80s movies that popped in my head for some reason, even though whatever.
Not The Last Unicorn, but Hobbit.
No. Yeah, I didn't like that one very much.
Oh, you're wrong.
Well, Hobbit was better. It's all right. But those are two. Those are two distinct styles. But I mean, they're both obviously movies, and they both can cater to different things, and they can both evoke different emotions, and they could both. Because I mean, at the time, I mean, if they made a live action Hobbit back in the early '80s, it would have been probably an enjoyable piece of trash, but it would have been a piece of trash. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like sometimes a stylized kind of medium is better. Like if like Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse, perfect medium, like perfect. Like I don't if that would have been if that was live action, they probably could not have captured the same like kinetic feeling and the same.
I think that's
like,
the most original.
You know what I mean?
Animated. That's the most original animated movie I've seen in like so long. That movie used so many cool ideas and just like cool animation.
But it did stuff. It did stuff that a live action movie maybe could not have done, but it wouldn't have been the same. You know what I mean? Like, and even still, like they would in the live action version, theoretically, they would have used a hell of a lot of CG anyway, so it really wouldn't have been live action in a way.
What's really weird about that too is if you were like, if you came up to me and you were like, "Is Spider-Man 2 art?" I'd be like, "I don't think so. Maybe no, I don't think so."
I think it is. I love Spider-Man 2, so
certain. No, it's not a bad movie. I'm just saying, and I mean, I'm not a Tobey Maguire guy, but like, you know, or if you were like the Amazing Spider-Man, is that all right? I'd be like, I don't know, I don't think so. Like, I don't. But you see, but if you were like, is Into the Spider-Verse art? I'd be like, absolutely.
But so if you don't like it, it's not art.
No.
Well, then what separates Amazing Spider-Man not being art and Spider-Verse?
I think we've nailed it. It's purely subjective. I think
it's not. I think it's. I mean, that might be the coarse truth, but
I didn't love Schindler's List, but that movie was art.
That was a good movie.
I didn't love it.
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it.
No, I didn't hate it either.
So I don't. But I think there has to be a universal.
Does there?
Yeah, I think there does. I think there does.
There does.
I think there does. I don't know what it is.
Good today, you guys.
I think real good speak now. I think it's like highly subjective, but I think there has to be like a universal. Like,
I mean, I guess
like
technically
deep down inside
every movie is art because it's. I don't know.
I don't either, but I do believe there is some sort of universal definition of art somewhere in all of our
like. Here's my thing. Like if you showed someone Journey, the game, I mean, most people would be like, yeah, that's pretty fucking art. Like that's an art fucking game. Or Ori and the Blind Forest, you know, like that game just oozes that shit. Or Ni no Kuni maybe, you know, but like.
But that's just artistic. Like, what's the difference between art and artistic? Is there a difference between art and artistic?
Again, that part's got to be subjective because that's like.
I don't think it is because artistic denotes like a use of a skill.
Journey is 100%
to create a reaction.
Journey
that's not what art is.
Art though.
But
Journey,
why?
like the whole game, I mean, it's like a 2-hour game that's perfectly curated and showing you exactly what it wants you to, and the music builds exactly when they want it to, and it's not open world or anything, so you're not really doing a lot that the game's not wanting you to do, and it does funnel you down this path. I think there needs to be, for something to be art, I think there needs to be some sort of what's the word, like a disconnected element or some sort of like mysteriousness around it.
Mm.
There needs to be some mystery in my head, in my stupid brain. I feel like there needs to be like some strange mystery to something in order for it to make
it has to have something that engages you.
Yeah.
And not purely in a competitive sense, because like at its core, a game is, even if it's a one-player game with no story, no art, if it's just a dot fighting another dot, it's an engagement of competition, even if it's with, you know, a computer intelligence.
And okay, so that's we're getting somewhere, because so competition, even if you're saying it's single player, is one draw of video games. So your Marios, your Tetrises, your Pongs, your Call of Duties, those are purely competitive.
Are you talking about the multiplayer sides of Call of Duty?
Okay, sure. But even
for the sake of Call of Duty, you got to be specific.
For the sake of this, you'll say it. Then we have stuff like I said, like Journey. Like you can't even really die in that game. You know what I mean? Like there's no way.
Did you just say that Mario is not art? The first Mario?
Nah, it's because it was created out of a. That's a competitive game. That's a game that you want to get a high score in. That's a game that you want.
But that's not the way I played that. That's not the way. And reason I played.
It's art.
Yeah, because when I played Mario back when I was like 5 or whatever. The last thing on my mind was getting a high score. Sure, the game was like engaging me and driving me to beat the next level, but I was enamored with the art style. I was enamored with the music. I was like, came up with all these weird stories about what the heck is even going on.
There's a
so
part,
I don't know.
There's a part. So I think I know what it is, and I think that's why this is all subjective, of course, because it's. And when I say emotional reaction, I don't necessarily mean any emotional reaction, but I know that there's a part in Journey where you get to the top of this cliff, and it's just like this crescendo of music. And there's no dialogue even in the damn game. You know, there's not even subtitles or anything. There's no language spoken. It's all like foreign language. You get to the top of this peak, and this music is swelling, and there's like these strange like Miyazaki-esque like kite things floating around, and you don't even know what's happening. But the music swells, and every single time I played that game three times now, and every single time that part I get goosebumps. I get this like this high. You know, I get this euphoria that just comes over me, and I'm just like, fuck, this is awesome. Like and it's not because of course you can get euphoria from just beating a high score, or like killing a Dark Souls boss or whatever that you've died to 1,000 times. But like this euphoria doesn't come from a competitive place. This euphoria comes from a purely emotional place, and I think that's, to me, what makes a game art, is when it can elicit this kind of this, I don't know. But then again, there's games like BioShock that don't elicit a lot of euphoria, but I still would say that game's art, So that's weird. Man.
Yeah. It's like it has to it has to like
because that game gives a lot of dread but the mystery. See, to me, I think it's a combination between a euphoric bursts of just like you don't even know why you're hyped, but you are. And then euphoric bursts and stuff like that, and also the mystery of what I was saying before, this sort of mysteriousness.
Again, that's the breadcrumbs of engagement that is like curation. So I think like a video game stops being just a mode of competition when when certain artistic elements are curated by a designer.
Yeah. And again, it is definitely subjective, but like I said, there's some games that just universally, like, you can't.
That's what I mean. You say universal. You said it's entirely subjective, but there are obvious like.
In my subjective opinion, I would think most people would universally think it would be art. But
how can art be subjective when how can art be purely subjective when like something like the Sistine Chapel, like people don't go to the Sistine Chapel and look up and go, it's really ugly.
Because
no one has ever said that in the history of the world. I'm pretty sure. I'm willing to bet.
Like we said before, just because we don't like it doesn't mean it's not art. But if art is subjective and you don't like something, then how can you think it's art? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We've also been led to believe that paintings are the purest form of art.
Yeah.
So anytime you see a painting somewhere,
Yeah.
you immediately you're like, that's artwork, right? Like you don't think that's almost
the Jackson Pollock sucks.
The default when you think of when someone says what is art, your brain literally just the Mona Lisa pops up in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like that's just what it is. But
well, I think because if you look at the evolution of art, it's big. It kind of it's like music and storytelling. You know, when we were freaking cave people, that slowly became. It's like storytelling became, written arts, and then theater melded with music, and then that eventually became movies, and then movies eventually became video games. It's like it's all going towards, maybe not going outwards. It's like it's almost like becoming a synthesis of. Yeah, I mean, leave it to Kojima to like be meta about it and be like, video games are a museum that I'm curating.
No,
it's
like and I think that's like the best definition I can think of. There's another example that I just sort of have is Nier Automata. I think that game it's very especially if you finish the game. There's just a lot. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but there's a lot to
You're
that
a robot
game.
the whole time.
Well, they say that at the beginning. And then there's another one on here that if no one's played, please go out and fucking play it. It's a game called Hyper Light Drifter. I think that is such a great fucking piece of art. That's such a great game.
Super fun too.
Did you ever play it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, because I think too, a lot of it too, you know how they do that thing where, they're like, oh, here's my painting. I'm like, well, where did it come from? And they're like, oh, the guy who painted it was like he was, missing a leg, and he was fresh out of Vietnam, and he had seen some horrors, and when you know the background of the artist, how it almost makes it more artistic or something.
Well, that's a product of like the 60s postmodern art boom, where like the context of the art is more important than, it's like they rejected art in itself, like a beautiful realistic painting of a field of flowers.
Yeah,
like that's not art.
Andy Warhol.
I hate Andy Warhol just for almost for that reason, because he just painted some cans and everyone was like, but what does it mean? It's like, that's not, I'm sorry, but I don't know. Yeah, but I see what you're saying.
If that was a thing, because the creator of that game had a heart condition and was told that he was essentially going to die any day, and so like his love letter to the world was to get this game out about a guy dying, and to know. But I can't agree. If you do know about the creator, sometimes it can kind of
context,
like give you some context. I mean, it can be like,
if I had like, for probably not the same reasons as everyone else, I'm probably gonna say Metal Gear Solid 2 is probably a very artistic game, because it just it uses itself as a game to make a game about games. It's just like the most pretentious, engaging thing ever. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, it's because that game is all about context. The game is like, the whole theme of the game is the use of context in an information age where like everything is subtext, like everything is just information everywhere. Everything's just, you can go out and get any information you want. So how are you going to know what's true when someone else is making your context? It's the whole thing. But
see, like, just our definitions of a remake were different on last week's episode. And it seems like it's another one of those types of things that's just like really, really subjective, and a lot of people try to make it not subjective or try to say that it shouldn't be. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're the one that's going to be going into your room and enjoying whatever art you want to enjoy, and like, no one can tell you that something's not art, even if
but like, if you're looking at in a large scale,
honestly,
certain things like certain. I mean, again, going to Metal Gear Solid 2, like another theme of Metal Gear Solid 2 was like a mimetic legacy, like how culture is passed down, like genes, like, so how a certain art, because even if you think that one art is not art and someone else thinks one art is one art, some things are left, like some art is left culturally in the dust, and no one thinks about them, no one knows about them. They'll never be known to us because they just don't exist anymore. So what's that one thing that kind of passes art along? Because I mean, art and museum that's hundreds of years old, like, people say it's art, but
it's just they were told that it was art,
But it had to start somewhere. It had to. I mean, but you could say the same thing about genes. You think genes just pass on because that's just what they do?
No, I bought my own. I think so. One last thing I'll add, and then we'll wrap this up. But I do think one thing I just thought of that maybe kind of makes art feel more like art, maybe than other things, is I think art generally has this like kind of almost like handcrafted feel to it, even if it is just a story or if it feels.
Yeah, it has to feel like it was, again, using the great word curated. It has to feel like it's either presented to you by an actual person or like created by an actual person, and it like almost holds that essence of that person in it.
Yeah, yeah, because if it has and see, that's the problem with these projects where thousands of people work on them, is if there's too much, if there's too many minds on something,
too many hands on it,
it doesn't feel as handcrafted. And that's what I was talking about, like Hyper Light Drifter. That game feels like a handcrafted piece of.
See, that's why I like
that this guy made.
Yeah, that's why I like. That's why I like directors and lead designers that are like more visionary, like
Kojima and Yoko Taro. Like they both,
because they're usually have the temperament of being kind of jerkish and kind of being bossy. But you know what? Like, I mean, you look at like someone like Ridley Scott. I've seen interviews with him and like his like cast and his crew, and he's a jerk. But you know what? Like, he has a certain specific vision, and like it's hard to be able to like get everyone on board. Not even on board, like get everyone.
You have to be a leader at some point.
You have to be a leader. So like, because if everyone just does their own thing, or if everyone does the same thing, then that vision won't be visible.
It's almost like the more people who work on a piece of art, where there's a head who's coming up with the ideas, but they have all the legs and the arms of different people. It's almost like that's like high art. That's like because if you can get your vision through with all these different people still working on it, and it doesn't become something sort of just milquetoast like in a modern Assassin's Creed game or a modern Days Gone or whatever, where it's just like this is just an open world checklist. This isn't. It's still fun. It's still a fun game.
It's still engaging.
Far Cry 5 is not a piece of artwork. It's just a fun, big playground. And that's, to me, the difference is because that game was clearly just made by a bunch of people who were like, and in a lesser way, I kind of agree with Scorsese on a lot of the Avengers stuff. Because it's made
a lot of the stuff was taken out of context, honestly.
It's made to be this fun, big, bombastic playground.
I love that. I love Marvel movies for just that reason. I don't watch Ant-Man because I want to see this highbrow movie. Like, I don't see Ant-Man to see highbrow cinema. If you do, I'm sorry, you're doing it wrong.
But you go see like an Alfonso Cuarón or a Quentin Tarantino movie because you know it's going to be highbrow cinema because that's what they're known for, because they are these people who are the head of this film.
I don't know if Tarantino is highbrow.
Have you seen his eyebrows?
He's high. He's highbrow because he's big forehead.
I see.
Tarantino is a master at elevating lowbrow to perceived highbrow. That's why I enjoy him.
I guess, I agree with you there. Or
it's like a
or
weird distortion of
Scorsese or whatever, whoever you want to throw out there. But like, I doubt there's anyone out there that can go out and see Roma and tell you that movie is not a piece of artwork. But like, hey, maybe they can. And Guillermo del Toro, because he's a fucking genius.
I don't like him very much.
You're an asshole and you're wrong.
I just don't like his movies.
Did you not like Pan's Labyrinth? Did you even see that movie with your eyes closed?
It was fine. It was fine.
Did you even watch Hellboy 2, you son of a bitch?
I didn't like Hellboy 2 as much, but I did like Hellboy.
Oh my god. Has your brain, is it okay?
I don't know anymore.
All right. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Yell at Anselmo until he agrees with you. That's what this is the new episode, the new title of this podcast.
It's art, God damn it. It's art.
It's got. I don't think it's art. Anselmo, you shut your mouth. It's art.
I'm just gonna edit it and just be that. I think it's art. Shut up.
That's the whole podcast. Is just me. Well, thank you for joining us this week on the Critical Beard podcast. Sorry if
you have any comments or what do you perceive as art? What games do you think are art? Comment below. We'll read them and say things to them.
What's your favorite art in a game?
In a game.
And I have been the Cardinal, and this has been my associate.
I have been the Meatball.
Yes.
Italian.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Stay. I love you.
Stay frosty, milk boy.